Hey everyone, it's Brandon here again for another video. So I just spent way too long trying to get an angle that made even a half bit of sense, but we're finally rolling on this video, and I'm excited to just share more thoughts with you guys and just get into some more stuff. So recently I've been thinking about goals, and there are plenty of times in life, if we're a really goal driven person or someone who wants to improve their life, wants to, focus on personal development, spiritual development, make more money, have better relationships. I mean, these are all normal life things. And for me, I feel like I've always been a person who is pushed to improve in various ways in life. I really don't like to stay still in a sense, and I don't like to decay. As far as in my abilities, my skill, my knowledge, my state of consciousness, how life feels. I like to be growing, changing, moving along at a good pace. And I would say this isn't that big of an exception. I think a lot of people fall in the same boat. We need to see some rate of progress for ourselves, or we can become uncomfortable. I don't think this is a rare thing for me. I think for me in my life, it turns out looking in a certain way, and other people have their own ways of that working out. But I bring that up because I'm looking back at this year so far. We're already near the end of July. I'm sure a lot of you out there can agree with me that 2024 has felt to move pretty fast. Everybody always says, oh man, this year really went by quick. I don't hear many people say, wow, this year is really dragging on. I can't believe it's only July. So, anyway, I'm sure a lot of you can share in the feeling that this year is moving quickly. A lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed. And so, looking back at my own life, I can see what really changed for me. If I look back at my year, I could think, like, okay, I'm not in some multi billion dollar, crazy setup in Dubai right now. Um, what's wrong with my life? Of course, it's a crazy metric. A lot of people have crazy financial metrics that they want to meet for themselves as goals. And for me, money has always been about having time freedom, being free to choose what I do with my time. And honestly, so far as an adult, up to now, I'm 28 years old. So basically, I've been, workforce age for about 10 years, about a decade. I haven't really gotten any closer to having more free time. I feel like the time I had the most free time was when I just let my finances kind of fall into ruin for a year. I had an injury, so that made working more difficult for a period of time, and then I had a lot of mental health stuff go on, and all of this lined up for me to not work pretty much at all for about 9 months out of a year, and then only part time the rest of that year. And if I look at this year, I've worked a lot more consistently. I haven't had the same degree of mental health, issues where I would have to go to the hospital. My bipolar disorder has more or less been mostly in check. Even though it took a lot of effort, it still takes me taking a lot of medication, still checking in with my various doctor. But anyway, so things are moving along well, but I'm not, a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire yet. And I still haven't gained much time freedom. I feel like in the pursuit of having more time freedom, I'm losing more and more time. I think a lot of you can probably relate to this. If you've ever tried to create passive income or just make enough money that you could take a sustained amount of time off from work entirely, it's easier said than done. And lifestyle inflation is a thing. So, I mean, the more money you make, it's very easy to say, oh, I can afford that thing that costs a bit of money that maybe before I would have not allowed myself to buy. And that just happens time and time again until, okay, you make more money, but maybe you don't have much more money left over. I mean, I've really been someone who's a lot of the time as an adult, I've tried to invest, tried to set myself up for the future. I'm a landlord. I'm 28. I started being a landlord like 6 years ago. So I started at 22, pretty early for doing that. Still, I mean, it's been a great net worth increase and like the best single financial decision I've ever made, probably. But it takes a lot of money, a lot of wealth invested to actually support your whole lifestyle. And a lot of this year has been me trying something out so I can hopefully increase my yearly income. Just the money that I make, the money that I see, the actual income from my normal work efforts in a job. And I'm also, so what I'm trying is I switched from just working sort of a normal job. I was a restaurant manager. That was always kind of an in-between job. I knew I wasn't going to stay there forever. This was actually me coming out of a pretty bad period for my mental health. Similar, like when I had that injury, I was off work for most of a year. And a lot of that was by choice in a way. I kind of relished in the fact that there were things working against me working a normal schedule and, putting in so many work hours that you can't enjoy life. Like, I let things go so I could just enjoy the hell out of life. And that was probably the year I made the most noticeable, rapid spiritual progress I've ever made. My whole perception, like moment to moment, had changed because of that year, even now. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is now I'm trying to make more money so I can invest more money so I can then have some free time. I could just say I don't need a job, I don't need money, like I'm just going to have all the free time I want. But of course that comes with drawbacks. Then some of that free time, you have to find food, you have to find shelter, you have to find the basic needs. But part of the problem is, and you could say this is a karmic thing, just the way that my life has turned out so far, I've lived at a certain living standard, middle class sort of life. My parents made decent money, they worked hard, they did, intelligent things with their money and didn't waste it all, didn't just they were good parents, they were good people put together, and they tried their best, and that gave me a certain lifestyle. Not the most lavish lifestyle, but it gave me a solid, comfortable, stable lifestyle. And now as an adult myself, I have to either work and through my own merits work to where I create enough value to the marketplace at large that the world will pay me a similar amount of money that I can maintain the same lifestyle as I was given, as I was born into. So I can work to do that, or I can not work as much and have a lower and lower lifestyle, in a sense, when it comes to just normal things that cost money. Some of those things can be like medicine, medication, transportation, a whole lot of things. You all are well aware, money can get us a lot of stuff in life. One of my favorite spiritual teachers that I've come across lately online is actually U.G. Krishnamurti. And he has several, but there's really one main one. Several recordings of him where he talks about how money is more important than enlightenment. Money is better than enlightenment. And I've heard other people kind of joke in that way, like, oh yeah, but money still gets you this. But in the back of their head, you can see they're really thinking that, no, it's not actually better. U.G. Krishnamurti was like either an old school troll, which he does show as kind of like an old school troll, this old spiritual master. There are so many interviews with him, and he's just got this bombastic personality where he says a lot of things you wouldn't expect. And he's not going to give up much room in a debate. Like, he feels strongly about what he's going to describe in so many different areas of life. And one of them was, he's just like, money is more important than this. Like, what I got, it's kind of worthless. This awakening stuff that he got, in a sense, it was kind of worthless. Having money was more important. Does he actually fully believe that? I don't know. But either way, if you go watch these videos, just go look up U.G. Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti is all one word, last name or family name. If you watch them on YouTube, you might see what I mean. But anyway, it's at the end of the day, there is a practical reality that we live in. No matter how awake we get as human beings, if we're still human beings and having the experience of being a human being, resources come into play. And obviously, it's the most obvious thing. So this all goes back. I'm trying to increase my income. How am I doing that? Well, instead of investing in real estate alone, like, I'm working as a home remodeler in the construction industry, in the real estate industry, and I'm trying to flip houses and, bring in some profit each house that I invest in and I flip it. Hopefully, I will get a decent portion of profit that I then can use to snowball my investing. The problem is, I still feel like this is all missing the point. There's actually a quote or a line in the Tao Te Ching which talks about, if you chase after wealth or security, I know security is one of the words used, at least in this translation, that the one that I've listened to the most, come in contact with the most. Basically, it says, if you chase after money and security, or it might even say wealth and security, whatever, you chase after the material world, but one of those main things being feeling secure in the material world. Think about how crazy this is. You're an entity by your very nature that is doomed to die. You are doomed to not last forever. You're doomed to get hungry every single day, pretty much. You're doomed. You have to have water every single day. You always have to have oxygen, but not all oxygen. You actually, need some other trace gases and more nitrogen than oxygen to live a normal human life. Can't have too much carbon monoxide. Asbestos is bad. Learned that one, right? If you're in real estate, you'll know that eventually. Lead paint is bad. So there are all these different constricting factors when being a human, and you know this so well. You are a human right now, chances are, supposedly. You might be like me right now, where I would be sitting on YouTube watching some, spiritual video for a bit of entertainment, maybe a little bit of education, maybe a little bit of, insight, supposedly. Maybe it makes me feel good. Maybe it makes me think about things that make me feel productive. Whatever. You might be in those kind of shoes right now, watching a video. But all of this stuff I'm talking about obviously applies to you. It's not rocket science. So really, how do we get out of this problem? The Tao Te Ching is basically saying, if you chase after security, it's not going to work. You're not going to find security as a temporary being with suffering inherent in living life through the lens of seeing yourself as a temporary being, human being with so many requisites to just have homeostasis, even though there's no real set homeostasis. That itself is a fabrication. Thinking that you'll ever get to a single point of true homeostasis, if you look at your whole human system, that's a fabrication. You're not gonna get to that perfect set point. And a lot of spirituality is like, how are you going to deal with the fact that you're not going to get to that perfect set point, and you're never going to sit there really ever at all? And even in the grandest, wildest, most beautiful, orgasmic, supernovic awakenings or states of consciousness or ultra psychedelic bliss or kundalini ultra chakra explosion of fucking everything awakening, the it doesn't matter. In the Holy Spirit is fully in my body awakening, the Jesus Christ awakening, the Lucifer awakening, the Taoist awakening. It doesn't matter. That's like, in a sense, like, all those things matter, of course. And in the moments that you experience them, if you actually get to those points, what I'm trying to point to with those words, if you get to places where I've been that I'm trying to point you to with the same language, you're not going to know exactly where I'm trying to talk. I can't even have full recollection of what those moments were like for me. You're not in a perfect sense right now. But if you get to those moments, they're going to be wonderful, awesome, teach you many things. You'll be thankful for life. But you're not done. We don't really get to a point where we're done with normal human activities and even spirituality itself. If you're trying to level it up in some way, the leveling it up in some way is kind of one of the last bars to the level of advancement that you actually seek and you want. I want to be enlightened. I want to be awakened. Even if you are enlightened, if you want to be enlightened, you're in a place of desire, of lack, and you're not fully satisfied and fulfilled. That's an issue. That's an issue. If you're the richest person in the world, you're not fully satisfied and fulfilled. I have a friend I know closely, coworker, whatever you might call him. Anyway, don't want to get too much into personal business. People who, it's their own life. No one needs to know who this person is for sure. You might have your guesses if you know me well. But anyway, so this person has a good amount of money and a good amount of free time, in a sense. Like, he can choose what he does with a lot of his time. And one day he came to me in like a particularly good mood, but almost like an inquisitive mood. And he was just like, what do rich people do? What should I do? Do you play golf? And I'm like, my dad plays disc golf. My dad, this year, Bill Rowe, was the Masters 65 division world champion in disc golf, as well as the doubles world champion. So like a two-time, like in 1 year, 2 different events, world champion at disc golf. And it's like, I'm okay. Like, I've played disc golf before. I'd rather play disc golf than normal golf, to be honest. But I'd rather not do either of them. So if someone has a lot of free time on their hands, I think I actually said to him, I was like, if I had free time, I would just meditate a lot. That'd be like my main thing. Which, like, that's a way of simplifying it. To someone who doesn't really, they're not focused in this spiritual just realm of human endeavors that I've been in. So I'll just say meditation. That's a really simple way of explaining, like, I want to do spiritual stuff, have spiritual awesome internal experience, go through a bit of psychonautics, and just have a fun time with that. That's what I would do in my free time, supposedly, theoretically. That's what I tell myself. That's what I say, like, oh, dude, if I had so much time to just do spirituality all the time, that would be ideal. That's not even accurate. Like, in that year that I was mostly off work, I did a whole lot of spiritual stuff. But eventually I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do some other stuff now. Like, I feel like I'm solid on this awakening journey. I feel like this is like a 200 out of 10 as far as like life progress goes, compared to every other aspect of my life that's like a 1 out of 10, like a 3 out of 10, like a 7 out of 10. This was like back then. I was just kind of thinking, it's almost absurd where I was at with my direct experience, where that had gotten to, how nice that had gotten to be from this awakening mumbo jumbo stuff that I do. And I was like, fuck, well, maybe I need to get a part-time job and, like, stop accruing credit card debt to just chill out. I mean, that year was the antithesis of my financial habits and what I had been trying to do for the whole decade up until now after becoming an adult. And in a way, that was the best time for me, spiritually, you could say. But it's not like I'm doing worse spiritually now. It's like I built the foundation then with that free time, with that practice, that really like focused time. Uh, so now I can just kind of coast, and if I'm not focused at all on awakening stuff, on spiritual stuff, on any type of development there, that's still good. Like, it's still chilling. My spirituality is still it's still a powerhouse for me in life, compared to so many other things. So it's like I have a lot to catch up on in other areas. So anyway, making more freaking money so I can invest money so then I can have time. It's complicated. Is it even proven to work? I don't know. But the whole theory is then when I can have the free time, I could do a lot of spirituality. And that would be awesome to just do that a lot. Is that really? I've already tried that. And that alone doesn't satisfy. Life is a moving target. Our desires create a reality that is a moving target for full contentment, happiness, peace, serenity, blah, 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 blah. List goes on. So this is the debacle we find ourselves in, or at least this is what I'm thoroughly convinced the debacle we find ourselves in as human beings. You know, I might still make this video, but I was thinking about this video I'm making now maybe being a different video, recording that video first. This just kind of came to me more off some things I was pondering lately, but I actually started writing out the notes, just rough notes like, oh, I'd like to talk about this kind of thing on a video. And it was actually, the title was going to be something like, I finally escaped Leo Gura's actualized.org drug cult. And I just thought, for one, that's just a hooking YouTube title, because everybody's got to play that YouTube game right. I've never played it right. I've never played the YouTube game right. And I kind of love that, in a sense. I love that I'm so bad at YouTube. I paid $1,500 for YouTube coaching from a guy with over 500,000 subscribers at the time. Really cool guy. I paid him that. And he shows me like, okay, this is like fundamental lesson number 1. This is how you get YouTube success. I'm like, and he's like, you're doing everything wrong, but still people are watching your videos. Like, if you just fix these things, you're going to do great. And as soon as he shows me the things that I got to fix, I'm like, fuck, dude, that seems like a job that I don't want. Doing YouTube in a way that makes money, spoiler alert, fucking, it actually ends up being kind of like a job. It ain't just all fucking rainbows and unicorn farts in your mouth. Like, it's actually still, if you want to get money in this world, you got to kind of provide something. And a lot of the time, the things that people want are in short, they're in short supply. There's a certain level of scarcity of the things that people are willing to pay you money for. And if there's not that much scarcity for it, for the service, for the product, for whatever, the good, if there's not that much scarcity, maybe they won't pay you that much money. If there's a fuck ton of scarcity, hardly anyone can do it, and it's a very vital thing, people pay you more money. Obviously, economics 101 or 100 or 99, very basic. So, yeah, man, I feel like I'm the Jabberwocky today, just talking a bunch of nonsense. But I've been told by someone who I trust that these videos are good. Just doing this stream of consciousness kind of, let's make a video kind of thing. Does it actually work? I don't know. We'll see. What is it meant to do? Before, when I first started YouTube, I was like, yeah, I want to make videos that help people so I can have a YouTube career, so I don't have to have a normal job and I can be a YouTuber and make money, and that's the dream. And, my life purpose I saw at that point was I need to figure out how to have the best life I possibly can and teach that to others. I still agree with that as a version of my life purpose, or a strong aspect of my life purpose. But now I've realized, like, okay, I came up with that idea and, like, realized that when I was 18, and I first started working on it when I was 18, 19-ish. Uh, and now I'm a decade into that process, and I've basically found out that, like, I need to go live life more before I can really teach people that much. Sure, I could teach people right now stuff that would be really beneficial, or to the right set group of people, it might change their lives. Or, I mean, I've had people in that set group of people, that demographic, be like, wow, this really changed my life. Like, you're the only person I found who did this or that, and it was really helpful. It's like, if it was, awesome. And I love those kind of people. The people who I tend to reach really well tend to be people I'm going to like a lot. We just have a lot in common, similar personality, whatever. This is kind of how socializing works. Or, you know, but I don't know, man. It's about 9:13, and I'm in a state park. Thank gosh it's not a national park, or I'd be done for. If you guys have been on that side of YouTube, you'll know what I mean. the the cryptid, you know, sightings, stories, bedtime story side of YouTube. But yeah, anyway, it's almost 9:15. It's getting almost dark, and I'm in what may or may not be considered Bigfoot territory, so I need to go before I get snatched. Catch you guys later.